So this is going to get ultra political. This is going to get bad, you guys.
Yeah.
January 6th.
Yeah.
You are listening to the SoapBox. I'm Paul.
And I'm Eric.
This all started out with a list. What's that all about?
So I've compiled a list over the years of things that just bother me, things that grind my gears. And I shared that list with you.
And I thought, you know what? That would make interesting conversation. Sometimes I'm going to want to agree with you, and it's just going to be something we talk about. Other times, though, I'm going to want to steel man the opposite position because I think that's just interesting conversation.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I'm always right, but Paul's just a really good debater.
Hey. 250 years.
Yes. Lexington, right?
America.
I do find it interesting. Lexington just celebrated their 250th anniversary.
Was it 250 in Lexington?
250.
Okay, so that would be celebrating being a city of a colony at that point.
Right, yeah, exactly. I guess.
Virginia or something?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I'm Canadian. What do I know about American history?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I grew up in Wisconsin. What do I know about Kentucky history?
Nothing.
But yeah, 250.
250, yeah. And are we okay, America? Are we okay?
Yeah.
Because I have social media, and what I've learned is that the sky is falling. We're all doomed.
Yep.
Everybody sucks. And it's all sponsored by AG1. So what an optimistic future we've got when we're trying to extend our lifespan with chewable candy greens or powdered greens.
Right.
But we don't have a future because everything sucks and everything's terrible. Here's the question that I have for you. Do you think that's true?
Do I think everything sucks?
Well, just do you believe the hype when you're getting online and you're hearing the state of the country and the political discourse and how people are interacting with one another along political, social, religious axes? The impression that I get is very black-pilled. It's very nihilistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's very doom and gloom.
Yep. I also feel it's very extreme, you know.
It is.
Bleeds, it leads kind of algorithm, right? The things that are going to bubble to the top, that are going to engage people, tick people off, that has to be compelling. It has to be make you mad, like grinding your gears, sure, or make you real passionate. So I mean, it can be either way. But you're right. It does seem like the hype and the build up is way worse than
than actual reality.
Yeah.
Because one of the things about this podcast that I think is phenomenal, and the good I'm hoping that we're putting into the world by doing this, isn't the debate. It isn't the grind your gears. It's not the the pedantic irritations of life. Those are fun to just sort of pick at. But the reality is that I think a lot of times we create a space where you can have a lawnmower in the background.
That's a new one. Take a snort.
No, take a shot of AG1 because it tastes like grass. It's awful.
I guess smoke a joint could be one. It's grass.
I'm going to go with the AG1
Okay.
personally.
But I mean, it was tobacco joint, right? I mean, I can't
It's still bad.
Yeah.
Don't smoke anything.
No, you really should.
Except pork butt.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and I've never figured out how to get it in the rolling paper.
Well, you do have to trim the fat, though. Did you not do that? You got whopped.
Yeah, I won't put myself on that one. Just for the record, I don't smoke anything.
I don't exhale.
Speaking of America, is that where it went wrong when you didn't inhale? No, it just I think we've created a good space for dialogue because the America I live in, the country that I love, the place that I call home, it's not this warring faction of people. It's people I like on both sides of the political spectrum, on all sides of religious ideology, because I think what bonds us together is far better than the things that push us apart. Mm-hmm. And you can hit the hot button issues if you want to talk about abortion, if you want to talk about gun control, if you want to talk about whatever. And you can find something that's going to polarize people But then if you look at what can you personally affect, what are you personally doing every single day? I think there's far more common ground than not.
Yeah. And even abortion, you and I have talked about in kind of at length. And when you really get into the nuances of what we both feel about it, we're pretty close. It's not
pretty
terribly
close
different.
in terms of like our sympathies to the situation.
Yeah.
And I think, and this is not a popular opinion, but concessions one might be willing to make if others were also willing to make concessions.
Yeah.
I think you can find a middle ground that's uncomfortable and yet more palatable than where we currently are.
Right.
But that's not what I want to talk about today, even.
No, okay. All right. Well, I have a bunch of ideas I wrote down. I hope that maybe they'll still fit. We'll see.
What I was thinking about talking about today is just kind of a health check, right?
Yeah.
250 years is not a long time in terms of the age of a country, but it's the history of our country, and during that time, it's been an experiment. You know, we've adopted a form of government that was different than previous forms of government. We had founders that were deeply entrenched in not just the monarchy that they were brought up in, but also in what predated them in terms of Greek and Roman ideas. And they wanted to usher in something new, and part of that was based upon a distrust of power. So they architected, to the best of their ability, a new system of power that was hopefully representative.
Checks and balances.
With checks and balances.
Yeah.
And, let's do our 250-year checkup. What are we doing right, and what needs improvement? That's the question I wanted to ask. And I kind of led with this as we were walking in. It wasn't a fully fledged idea. It's you hit the record button and it starts to congeal a little more. But I had started with this idea of term limits. And I think this is very topical right now because we have a guy in office from Kentucky.
84 years old.
Is that how old he is? 84, and he's been in office decades.
Yeah. Like
decades and decades. And he's GOP, but even members of the GOP don't really feel like he represents Republicans. I've often heard that they don't feel like he represents Kentucky. I get the impression he doesn't live here. He lives in Washington, D.C., or at least he has a home in Washington, D.C. And that doesn't seem to me to be what the founders intended.
Right. We are talking about Mitch McConnell, obviously.
Talking about Mitch McConnell. And it seems to me that the way that this was sort of designed was, hey, a farmer is going to have somebody else watch the farm while he comes and advocates for farmers, and then he's going to go back and work the farm some more. Not, I'm going to get ultra rich, ultra connected, ultra powerful, and then just stay here and linger and leech off of the American people for as long as possible while feeding my special interest groups.
Right.
So we have presidential term limits. Why not congressional term limits?
Well, we'll see in 3 years if we have presidential limits. Yeah, I'm with you.
Won't happen. That's
the
the rumor on the left because people are they hate him so much they want to craft a narrative that's not really there.
Well, maybe that's a good sidestep, just because I certainly don't see it that way. I see it as there's so much that man has done that it just wouldn't surprise me if he tries to find, and of course there's some loophole theories of running as a vice president and then having whoever his running mate is step down, kind of a thing. And just, I've heard a lot of, I look at it more of it just terrifies me as much as, things have been shaken up I don't know.
Well, so this is going to get ultra political. This is going to get bad, you guys.
Yeah.
January 6th.
Yeah.
January 6th wasn't good.
Right.
But it also wasn't the insurrection day that I think it got framed as. You had a bunch of people who were let in the Capitol. The doors were opened to them. And then they went into places they shouldn't have been, stole some stuff, acted a fool, and then mostly left peacefully. But AOC and folks like that were framing it like, I almost died. Mm-hmm. And I think they almost died. Like, I almost died this morning when that plane that flew over my house came so close to crashing into my upstairs. It was only 10,000 feet away.
Yeah, I mean, the details of that, it's been so long now, I've kind of forgotten a lot of the details. But, I mean, there were injuries and there were attacks on police. I think the biggest thing with January 6th was the call to action.
So the call to action, I think, has been pretty well debated. And I think folks on the left basically say it was dog whistle and he called them to violence. And folks on the right say he never specifically said it. Folks on the left didn't give him credit for trying to get the National Guard deployed. He made that call early, and then they failed to do it. So it doesn't strike me as the type of rebellion where he's going to try to maintain the reins of power. And then he, conceded peacefully shortly after. Anyway, none of it had the hallmark of revolution. It had the hallmark of some bad stuff happened. We can make an indirect attribution, and he's the villain character, so it's comfortable to do so.
Yeah.
But I think those ideas, those echo-chambered, siloed ideas that I have and you have both, are being used to propagate this notion that, maybe he'll take a third term unconstitutionally.
Right.
But nothing that I saw in action demonstrated an unconstitutional handover of power. All he did was say, hey, the votes were rigged, the machines were rigged, I want to recount. He demanded recounts, but he wanted it to be done with due process. He didn't demand it at gunpoint.
So this would be a really interesting experiment. I think maybe I've heard of studies where they've done this with folks, but I feel like your recollection of everything that just happened is so different, so very different, because of our echo chambers. And what maybe what I talk about today is what really happened.
Sure.
I don't think you have a good sense of what happened, because everything you're saying is in contrast to the stuff I heard. So either what I saw was wrong, or what you saw was wrong, or
what I saw was filtered and what you saw was embellished. And I think that's probably the truth.
Yeah.
I think the truth isn't what you saw. I think the truth isn't what I saw. I think both are a function of propaganda.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And I think that's important to recognize, that it's happening on both ends of the political spectrum, and this is where the danger is in this country.
I think another important aspect to this is the algorithm, right? And for you to say yours is filtered, yours is embellished, mine's embellished,
and mine is filtered.
I think that could be true for certain things. But I think what's happening is the algorithm is deciding whether to filter or embellish.
I think the algorithm is part of it, but I think the algorithm is trained on real-world data. And
sure.
Do you agree with this statement? News sources on both sides of the political spectrum are forms of propaganda for their corresponding.
I think it's true. I mean, outside of certain news channels, particularly ones that are overseas, that sometimes.
Well, I'm thinking of where are a lot of these ideas coming from?
Yeah.
And I think that you can point to Fox News or Tucker Carlson or Ben Shapiro on the right.
Yeah.
And I think you can point to like a Don Lemon. I think you can point to Trevor Noah. I think you can point to MSNBC on the left.
Well,
and these are folks that are going to passionately present to you a propaganda narrative of reality that's based enough in actual events that it's plausible.
Yeah,
it's not true.
I'm gonna steel man you, because I think I know exactly what you would say. Trevor Noah is doing comedy, much like Fox News. Fox News doesn't present news. Fox News entertains.
Well,
right?
Trevor Noah is as funny as a cancer diagnosis.
Man, he's hilarious, but you don't like. I guess you don't like his punchlines. Well, I think he's fantastically hilarious.
I think comedy is fair, and I think he is punching down only one direction.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
but again, you put him in the category of news, and I don't think you can.
Where do you think people get their news, though?
No, I think you're right, but our standards have to change then, because I go to Trevor Noah. Jon Stewart is even Jimmy Kimmel. All of his stuff right now is political.
Right, and it's all dog crap.
Well, it's all. It makes
it's terrible.
It makes me
He's
laugh.
Not funny.
I get it. I'm with it. Like everything. Well, not everything, obviously.
I don't know. That would be like me saying, "I got to tell you this joke that my pastor said, and it comes from the book of Acts."
Right.
And you're like,
I actually, this is something.
Not my people, not my audience would be your response. And when it comes to a Jimmy Kimmel or Saturday Night Live, would be another one. All these folks made decisions to align themselves with one half of the nation.
Yeah.
And consequently, folks look at that and they say, well, it must be true because the establishment is saying it, which is hilarious to me because then you also have the same people that are using iconography, like fight the power. And it's like, okay, you have the universities on your side. You have the media on your side. You have all major corporations and brands on your side.
Yeah.
What power are you fighting?
Right. Well,
you are the power.
Yeah. In this case, I think some of the power could be administration, which don't have on the left. But yeah, it's. I find it interesting. I've thought before, and actually, I've been meaning to ask you before. Are you? Is there a vacuum of comedy for? And I say you, but I'm talking about people on the right. I think people on the right probably struggle to find good comedians, even like actors they identify with that are passionate about things.
So if you're looking for establishment characters, I think you're right. I think there is a vacuum on the right. I think you'll get the washed up actors like Rob Schneider.
Yeah, and you'll get the...
are kind of like trying to... They are like, okay, hot take. I've said this before, but they're like Christian music.
Yeah.
There's
okay,
a strong vacuum
Yep.
for good talent, and so they just settle for okay talent.
Yeah.
Rob Schneider, not super funny. Adam Carolla, he's got one bit that's really good.
Yeah.
Have you seen... the bit where poor people are just like rich people.
Yes,
and then it goes on a whole tangent.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jerry Seinfeld said that was one of the 5 funniest bits he'd ever seen in his entire life.
Yeah.
So I think there's those figures, but I wouldn't call any of them A-list celebrities.
Right.
But I do think one thing that's happening is you're seeing non-establishment media figures that are starting to organically appear in places like TikTok and Instagram. And then I consume them on Facebook Reels because I'm old.
Right? No, that's fair. In fact, I just heard some actor who wasn't particularly large in muscle, if I remember correctly, because I can't remember who he is, was giving, it was The Rock or some muscular actor was basically, they were calling him out saying, you can't say, I don't want to get political. Like, you got to take a stance, which I totally... I mean, I think I agree with most people thinking that's perfectly fine.
You probably shouldn't if you don't have a well-formed opinion.
No.
Because you're aligning yourself with one group, but you're basically saying, I'm not for half the country.
Yeah.
Somebody like The Rock, they just need to be muscly, do the eyebrow thing, then say something clever.
Yep.
And sell movie tickets.
Stay apolitical. I find... I get humor in my team's, got a lot of celebrities,
who used to be funny before they went political.
I think that, well, okay. So in order for it to be funny, it has to make you laugh.
I think in order for something to be funny, it has to say the quiet part out loud. But I think that when you make it partisan, it becomes agenda driven. And so instead of just observing truth, now you are assigning narrative. It's not objective truth now, it's subjective perception.
Okay, but how is this not funny?
Some of it is.
Well, okay,
but for somebody like Trevor Noah, Trevor Noah is a fantastic example because I have a more local gripe with that man. He came to the University of Kentucky.
Chad had the same bit.
Did he?
Did you? You guys probably talked about it, I imagine.
I don't remember. Chad, if you're listening to the podcast and you want to mention in the comment section if I'm wrong here. But he came to Kentucky. He did a thing for the student center or whatever. And then immediately in his act, he's like, I went to Lexington, Kentucky, and let me tell you, they have quaint racism. Like, dude, you were driven around by a private driver where everybody fanfared for you and worshiped the ground that you walked on because you were a celebrity. You went and had the finest food and the finest dining and the best experience, and you never once experienced casual racism. You're making that up because that's what people want to believe about the South. And you're perpetuating a stereotype that wasn't your lived experience. Yeah. Maybe it's somebody else's, but you said it like it was true, and it's bull crap. So Trevor Noah, you're dog crap, and I hate you.
So, all right, I have to defend him here. That was a funny bit. I didn't take it literally. I didn't. I know he's a comedian. The words he says doesn't have to match his lived experience. Where are you getting that from?
Do you think that most people are intelligent enough to parse his social commentaries from his actual experience?
I feel like we live in a world where we have to have a warning label on a hot cup of coffee because people are so stupid they're going to burn themselves. And so yeah,
okay. Let me ask you a different question. We had toyed with the notion of talking about the bell curve.
We did. Oh boy.
And one of the things in the
you
bell curve,
you just threw a bell curve ball.
one of the things in the bell curve is that it talks about group intelligences, right? And they look at all different ways of dissecting intelligence in society. And one of the less flattering things was when they did it by race.
Right.
They identified that African Americans have a lower distribution than white Americans. And they made a whole big thing to say this doesn't talk about individuals. You shouldn't, you shouldn't select individuals and make any attributions about them because they may be high on their particular bell curve. We don't know if this is a function of poverty. We don't know if this is, we don't know that there's a genetic assignment to it. They made all the disclaimers and people still lost their minds.
Yeah.
And for a long time, people didn't want to do additional research on intelligence because it came with this giant caveat that it could be career ending. And you've, I think in the past, made the statement that should we unpack that if it's going to have negative potential for racists, right?
Right. Yeah. You're kind of.
Are you giving the racists ammunition towards their argument? So I would say, are you going to apply that same standard here? Are you enabling people to think more poorly of Kentucky? And, is it okay to put that out into the world without the warning label, knowing full and well that that's going to inform a whole bunch of prejudice that may be, okay, well, it's towards white people, it's towards racism, whatever, but it's really towards people that live in the South. It's towards my hometown. And it's not true. So do we treat both of those with the same level of severity, knowing that it's going to have some sort of social contagion or some sort of impact that's broad reaching? And when you've got an audience like Trevor Noah, where he can just drink a morning coffee and tell you about the weather and get 1 million views.
Right.
You have a different, I will hold you to a different standard than a couple of guys that are, using webcams and will get 3,000 views on a video.
Right. No, I mean, I see what you're saying. I think we're talking about two different things in terms of science and entertainment. I think you said it. I think we live at a time where we need to put a warning label on comedy bits. We need to tell people, hey, he's doing comedy. This may not. I remember the cliffhanger. Sylvester Stallone, who was it? Petzel got really, really mad when one of their carabiners was shown in the beginning of the movie of failing under a normal load and breaking, and someone falls and I think someone died, right? But they had a big label at the end credits of the movie, basically saying, that this doesn't reflect the actual equipment. So
I don't know that comedy needs to come with warnings as much as we need to maybe evaluate where are people getting information in 2026? Because you and I are vestiges of a bygone era where we can think about a time where we sat around the television and watched the evening news.
Yeah.
You probably have read newspapers in earnest and not in an archival sense.
Yeah.
And then when news became, primarily online, we were still thinking of it in analog terms. And so we still go to large brands, trusted news sources. Whether we question their integrity or not, we still assume some level of journalism.
Which it goes out the window when you've got someone with an iPhone and their morning cup of coffee.
Right.
I mean, there's no more journalism now.
There's not. And
now it's just
most world events are a short 15-second reel in a montage that may not be current.
Yeah.
It may not be presented in its entire context. And it's algorithmically decided. So to your earlier point, the algorithm is informing a lot of what you will see. But a secondary function of the primary choice of who do I follow and what content am I seeking out to train my algorithm. Because you can change your algorithm. You know, you accidentally click on one hemorrhoid cream ad, and all of a sudden it's
happened
like,
one time.
Does it hurt to sit down? I'm like, listen, it does, but don't come at me.
Have you tried to hack your algorithm at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
You and I both tried to hack the algorithm.
Yeah.
So this was something we did
Mattresses?
years ago. This
Yeah.
was this pre-COVID?
Maybe it was pre-COVID.
Okay, so 6+ years ago, we were talking about how creepy the algorithm is getting. And so we were like, okay, what's something you're not seeing advertisements for now, but you know that they advertise for?
Yeah.
And we landed on
Butt
mattresses.
Cream. Oh.
Wait, you did butt cream? That's why I'm getting all those ads.
Yeah, we did mattresses.
We did mattresses. And I don't recall getting more ads. We were specifically testing Gmail, though.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And we sent a very contrived email. It was like, Eric, I'm thinking about making a purchase for a mattress and or multiple mattresses.
Yeah.
Do you think that a good box spring and mattress set would look good in my bedroom?
We ought to rerun the experiment because I feel like the algorithm power is like, because we talked about like talking near the mouthpiece of your phone, and it's like picking up.
Do you want to go down that rabbit trail for a second?
Why not?
We've probably talked about this before. We're going to talk about it again in the future, but we're going to talk about it now too. Yeah. I used to say that was a big old load of baloney. Take a shot.
Taking a shot.
That they had enough information about us that they could do geo proximity between the two of us, that they could look at all of our online fingerprint, and that they could do a digital fingerprint of the individual user. And so it didn't take much to tie our surfing habits and our interpersonal relationships together to give us an ad that seems creepy, like it overheard us. But then a company came out and said, oh no, we have that technology, we use it. And all these bigger companies like Google and Amazon were quick to say, we don't use that feature. We may have partnerships with them, but that's not something we're doing. So the technology exists, and we've opted into it. And who knows? It's probably listening to us.
Did you read that agreement? Okay. As I said before, I do have a hard out here soon, but I did want to get your reaction on a couple quick things, since we were talking about 250 and we're talking about Trump and we're talking about all this. Did you see the bit about Trump reportedly calling FIFA and disputing the red card?
I did, which I didn't realize was a presidential power.
And I'm not sure if it's a presidential power as much as FIFA the United States is one of 3 countries hosting the World Cup, and so a lot of money went through. So I mean, there's obviously some political tie-ins to the U.S. and FIFA. So I don't know if it was like a political PowerPoint or anything, but I thought I was really hoping the player was going to just not play, just
opt out,
take a knee, and just be like.
Well, the whole team kind of did, didn't they?
Well, they ended up.
So that worked out well. Yeah. Although I will say, I don't spend a ton of time watching third world hockey.
Third world hockey, the biggest sport in the world.
Like I said, third world hockey. You can't. You can't have an ice rink everywhere. That's for the prestigious North Mexicans. How many racially insensitive things can I say about different countries?
And then the other one, this one actually, we may have to follow up on this because I'm curious how this one actually shakes out. I did, assuming this is true, I don't know. Maybe your algorithm saw the truther side of it, but Trump. Calling out Walmart and telling Walmart or asking Walmart to lower prices so that people can. That
has not hit my news feed at all.
I think that's pretty new and it's pretty hot. So I don't know if I'm not quite sure. I realized
I'm aware that he did a similar thing about oil prices.
Right. Okay.
And it seems awfully odd to me that we would have a conflict that blocks a main pipeline,
right?
And then he would blame other people. I don't know. I'm not. Yeah. For the record, I'm not a Trump fan. Yeah. I am a conservative-leaning libertarian at this point in my life. I do not like Donald Trump. I don't wish anybody ill will, but it'll be good to see a changing of the guard.
We did see you anti-capitalist a little bit in the gaming episode, though, right? Didn't we?
Yeah. So just take 2 clips from this podcast and the last one and be like socialist libertarian Paul Ross.
Yeah. Again, I do have to cut off Charlie, but I do want to make a big shout out to the I feel like people can get on their megaphones, and because of the way the algorithm works, people can tank big movies, TV shows, and things. I've seen it with.
Yes.
And it's happening now with the Supergirl.
We discussed this one very recently.
Yeah.
But absolutely, folks got on, and there were a couple of campaigns that were working against Supergirl, and now DC is doing some damage control.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen some of the stories of the damage control.
They're going to go like early release to digital video or something like that. I know it's one thing.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah.
When I'm talking damage control, I'm talking about the optics for DC, where they said that they did early screenings. The audience polling was abysmal early on. It was like 60%.
Yeah.
And then they decided to go with the James Gunn cut.
Right. Yeah.
And they thought that was going to save it, but nobody said, "Oh, the James Gunn cut is also screening very poorly."
Okay.
And so now they're trying to throw James Gunn under the bus when actually what they had was a just poorly thought out idea that didn't really tell a good story. They had a character they didn't know what to do with.
Yeah.
And then they just crapped this thing together because reasons.
See, and I think if no one ever said any of that, then people would make up their own opinions and they might actually like it. Because I feel like people are just, all these things, trailers in particular, are so long now where you see most of the movie after you watch the trailer. It's like there's nothing left to the imagination. There's no longer an individual opinion of it. It's objectively bad, which doesn't make any sense. It's a movie.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be an objective nature to, like, well, clearly the plot points didn't follow this rule and this. No, was it a good movie or not?
Yeah.
And I think we don't get that anymore.
I think the since we're staying political here today, I think the political jabs came when Millie Alcock was doing interviews, and she was trying to present, take a shot of kryptonite.
Yeah. I think she's a tequila girl, but that was from another episode of.
I was going to say, Supergirl can't drink because it doesn't affect her.
No, that's the whole point of the movie. She flies to another planet.
Oh, where it's
There's no red sun.
Yeah, okay. I haven't actually seen it, so
she gets tanked.
I'll probably stream it later and then change my mind completely.
We'll do our own reaction video to it.
That would be interesting, actually. It'd be really fun to take one that is still like really in the public eye, and then just go watch it, and then do a autopsy ourselves.
There you go.
But yeah, the political nature was one. She was trying to appeal to folks on the left by implying that Supergirl may be LGBTQ. Did you see this?
You and I talked about it.
And then she made one specific jab where she was like, "Yeah, the critics are mostly Christian dads." And like all the Christian dads that want to take their daughters to go see Supergirl were like, "Excuse me, like, what do you have against us? Why are we the enemy?"
Yeah.
All we did was say that you don't look like the other Supergirl.
Right.
Because a lot of them, in fairness, compared to the previous movie iteration that was the one with the short brown hair.
Yeah.
She seems more like the comic book Supergirl that people might remember if they even read comic books, but seems a little closer to the TV show Supergirl, which ran for like 5 or 6 seasons. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think DC has a difficult time translating stories that people loved in books and from childhood into a cinematic universe, because I think it's death by a boardroom.
Yeah.
I think they over workshop these things. They don't produce a script that is close enough to the material people love. They try to shoehorn in too much too quickly, and they make slop.
Yeah.
The only movie I've ever fallen asleep to was the Batman versus Superman movie.
Oh yeah, well that was pre James Gunn stuff. I'm pulling for James Gunn. I think he's gonna get that, because the Peacemaker stuff is just fantastic. I love it.
He's got a big redemption arc ahead of him after this one.
But
so, all right. Well, we'll wrap it right here. Thank you for playing the political game here today. We'll just call this episode Canceled.
Canceled.
Like all of them.
Right.